Hello guys, so it's Naj here, and today I'm going to talk about a very important topic that is out there, and the question is, which English exam is the best? This is a question that is often asked from me, and this is also very critical because an English exam result is the key to the doors of success in a foreign country, and particularly in the Australian context, you will need an English exam at any given time. Whether you want to delay it today or tomorrow, you at some point of time you will have to give the English exam. Most people, if they come to Australia as students, they have to give an English exam and get a certain level of proficiency to get admission in the universities. Then when you apply for your permanent residency, you have to also give an English exam. And most importantly, for medical doctors or engineers who want to go and get themselves registered with their professional organizations, they also need to get a certain proficiency in their English exam. And generally that proficiency is about 7 band each in each component of the exam. That's basically 7 bands of IELTS or comparable. And they, particularly in terms of the health professionals and the medical professionals, they need to get that band. And for immigration perspectives as well, 7 band is sort of the base cut off which you need to get. And if you can get a higher band, that'll be great. So this video, I'm going to break the tests down one by one, step by step, and tell you what I feel is the best test for you to do. And obviously you can make your own decision. And a disclaimer over here, I'm not affiliated with any testing organization, so obviously what I'm telling you is from my own experience. So what I'm going to do is break this down into 3 factors. Number 1 is the fee of the test. I know that's crucial because a lot of you are spending a lot of money on different things, and obviously you want to have the cheapest possible test. Number 2 is going to be the format of the test and the way it's constructed or the way it's marked, why that is important. And number 3 is going to be your occupation, and when I get to that, you'll sort of figure out what I'm trying to say. And maybe at the end, if I have time, I'll speak about your personality, because English is also a personality thing, language is also a personality thing, and certain test aspects suit certain personalities. So let's get into that. Number 1 is the fee. So the 3 main English tests that are common in Australia, that are generally used. One is the IELTS, which is popular all over the world. The newer kid on the block is the PTE, which is Pearson Testing of English. And the third one is the OET, Occupational English Literacy sort of a thing. So those are the 3 tests. Now the cost of PTE and IELTS is exactly the same, so it's $340. Whereas the cost for OET is $587, so almost twice the sum of PTE or IELTS. So that's one factor. So factor that when you're trying to plan your test. So that number 2 is going to be the way these tests are conducted, or the way they are assessed, to be particular. Now, the way these tests are assessed are IELTS and OET are assessed by individuals. So for example, if you do a speaking task, you'll have somebody sitting next to you who's going to hear you and mark you out. Or for example, if you do a writing task, let's say you write an essay, and then it's going to go to someone who's going to mark the essay. Now, the problem in that is it's subjective. The reason why subjective is a problem is because there can be a bias. For example, the examiner doesn't like my face, he can mark me down. Or the examiner is in a bad mood and he doesn't like your writing style, so he can mark you down. Whereas PTE is different, because PTE is 100% marked by a computer. So they've got a software, they've preloaded it with algorithms, and they actually go and mark you. So there's zero bias for on your accent, zero bias on the way you look, the way you dress, the way you smell, all those sort of things. So that's one thing in the advantage of PTE, whereas IELTS and OET, as I've explained. But there is a bit of a difference between IELTS and OET as well. The reason why OET is expensive, remember I told you that's almost twice the cost, is because what OET does is that you don't get a score from one individuals. Your paper or your answers are actually checked by 3 individuals, and you get average score out of it. So therefore OET is a little slightly better in terms of marking bias than IELTS. Now the third thing is your personality and the style, and you must be wondering why I'm talking about that. I think that's important because if you are very fluent in English and you sort of have a good listening ability and you're good at answering things on the go, like it's more like a personality. Some people can respond to things very quickly, other people need a little bit of time to relax and think about it and then write. So if you're very spontaneous, PTE is the test for you. If you're outgoing, you're speaking all the time, PTE is good. Reason being, the PTE test is very fast-paced test. So everything goes like bang, 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 bang. And if you're in that mode, you're gonna smash PTE. I'm pretty sure you can get like 8 band each easily in PTE. However, if you need a little bit of time and more like a structured testing environment, I'd say IELTS or OET is the way for you to go. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is your occupation. I think that's important as well. Now, if you are in that category where you need a little bit of time to construct things and you're thinking about the IELTS and the OET test, then maybe the OET test is the one for you, particularly if you are from the occupation of medicine or nursing or allied health sciences. Reason being is the OET is actually occupation specific. So if you're a health professional, they'll give you scenarios and questions which are health related. So you may be able to relate to that a little bit and may be able to perform a little bit better than you would do in a generic English exam as such. So that being said, now I want to just shed some light on my personal opinion and which tests I did. So I'll give you an example. 8 years ago when I was coming to Australia, I sat the English exam, and back in the day we only had IELTS. So I sat for the IELTS exam and I scored about 8 band. The only band I didn't score much, I scored about 7.5 was in writing, and my speaking was 8 as well. I think it was 8.5. So when I came to Australia, I spent about 6 years here. A couple of years ago, I applied for my permanent residency. So I thought, I have to give the exam again because that's a requirement. You have to get points to get your permanent residency. So I sat the exam and I thought, I'm going to do IELTS. I'm going to smash this because I've done it before. I sat the IELTS exam, and surprise, surprise, like 8 years ago, I got 8 band in speaking. Thinking about it, I've spent multiple years in Australia speaking English all the time, day in, day out. I would assume that my speaking skills have improved, right? You're wrong. Because when I got the results, I got a 7.5 band in speaking. And that's lower than what I had about several years ago when I applied for it. So there you go. That's a bit of a subjective element. Maybe the lady didn't like what I said, or didn't like my accent, or didn't like my face, or didn't like the way I was dressed on the day. That's an issue. The other thing is that writing, I had 7.5 band about 6 years ago. I've done a PhD over here. I've published articles everywhere in scientific journals. People quote my articles. I've published 22 international articles. And you know what? I get another 7.5. After so many years of writing, this is what IELTS does to me. The next day, I book the PTE exam, I give the ED exam, and I get 9 each. 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. It's great. The other good thing about PTE is that the time. Generally, you'll get your result within 2 working days. Sometimes you will get it in like 12 hours. I got my result in 12 hours. So the turnout is really quick, whereas for IELTS or OET, you may have to wait 2, 3, maybe up to sometimes 4 weeks. So those are the pros and cons. I hope you've understood what I've tried to say. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, or please subscribe to my Facebook page. It's Outback Dr. Australia. I've just started up, so it's really good for discussion. Please also subscribe to my channel, and also let me know if you have any other ideas or questions about any interesting new videos you'd be interested in. Thank you very much. Bye.